In my life, I have managed to see a great many things in a great many places. I have been on trains, buses, boats, trucks, horses, elephants, streetcars, and subways. I have walked, I have rode, I have cycled, that was a long time ago. I have swum, I have driven and been driven. And thanks to a marvelous invention of the 20th century, I have been able to fly. My first transatlantic flight was taken at the ripe old age of 10 months on a military transport propeller plane carrying hundreds of frightened, crying, airsick infants in the arms of their equally frightened, crying, airsick mothers. Fortunately, I have no recollection of this ghastly experience, and so it has not succeeded in scaring me away from further adventures in flying. Unlike boats, planes have never frightened me. A good book, a quick sign of the cross, and a Dramamine, and I am ready to go. Over the years, however, I have often sat next to people who were deathly afraid from takeoff to landing. A combination perhaps of acrophobia, claustrophobia, and agoraphobia. This fear, rational or otherwise, is one of the most difficult to shake. Sometimes known as aviophobia or flying phobia, it seizes people in a firm grip and either grounds them permanently or prevents them from enjoying even a single moment of the fascinating hours spent above the clouds. You can always spot a person suffering from this affliction. The face goes pale. The eyes either stare ahead in panicked stupor or close tightly shut. People who never drink, drink. People who never pray, pray. And they either don't say a word or never stop their nervous chatter. They would rather be any place in the world than on that plane. Recently, a friend sent me a delightful meditation on flying and fearing and living and dreaming. It is long and rich, but one portion struck me and stayed with me. It speaks of a pilot who said many of his passengers think planes are dangerous to fly in. But the pilot said, actually, it's a lot more dangerous for a plane to stay on the ground. On the ground, the plane starts to rust, malfunction, and wear much faster than it ever would if it was in the air. Planes were built to live in the skies, and every person was built to live out the dream they have inside. So it is perhaps the saddest loss to live a life on the ground without ever taking off. Do you know how many people there are who live their lives that way? On the ground when they could be soaring? It is the Spirit of God who enters us and raises us to heights we never dreamed of, who lifts us up to live on a level we thought was reserved for the angels. Do we speak? The Spirit of God infuses our words, giving them understanding and making them understood. Do we smile? The Spirit of God turns our joy into ecstasy and renders it contagious to all around. Do we weep? The Spirit of God weeps with us, gives meaning to our tears, allows us to grow through our pain. Do we love? The Spirit of God is love, and it is our love, our human love, our delightful and painful and sometimes foolish love, that tiny and insignificant as it may seem, allows our heart to beat in unison with the heart of God. Only we must not be content with walking when we were made to fly. Our days have brought us fear and complacency such as has never been known before. Today one is afraid to do anything, start anything, change anything, for fear of being sued. And the airplane of our existence sits rusting on the ground, never taking off. Kick the fear out and let the Spirit in, and then you will know what life can be. Don't walk, you might stumble. Don't run, you might fall. Don't play, you might skin your knee. Don't swim, you might get wet. Don't look, you might not like what you see. Don't make a decision, you might be wrong. Don't try, you might not succeed. Don't speak up, someone might laugh at you. Don't take a chance, you might lose. Don't breathe, the air might be bad for you. Don't love, your heart might get broken. Don't dream, you might be disappointed. Don't live, you might die. And for heaven's sake, don't fly. You just might end up higher than you are now.